Kinesiophobia is a topic that's gained a lot of interest recently in the rehab science and biomechanics fields. It has been observed that individuals who have greater fear of movement have a tendency to experience greater pain levels, as well as prolonged disability as a result of pain. This suggests then that maybe kinesiophobia has some role in the development of chronic pain in some cases. So this video aims to discuss some of the research that has been done on kinesiophobia in terms of what it is, what the impacts are, and what are some things that could be done, as well as maybe some direction for future research. I think before we get into what kinesiophobia is, we first need to discuss how fear impacts pain. It is widely accepted that pain is influenced by biological, psychological, and sociological factors, which is explained here in the biopsychosocial model of pain. This model describes how biological factors, like nociception or injury, psychological factors, like coping skills and behaviors, and sociological factors, like cultural beliefs and social support network, all work together to influence the pain experience. Now let's get into kinesiophobia. Kinesiophobia has been defined as a large, irrational, and harmful fear of movement resulting from a belief that movement or activity will very likely result in pain or injury or re-injury. This was defined by Corey et al. In 1990. Kinesiophobia is assessed using the Tampa Scale for Kinesiophobia, which is a self-completed item-based questionnaire used to assess a patient's kinesiophobic beliefs. The two main versions commonly used are a 17-item and 13-item, where scores range from 17 to 68 or 13 to 52 respectively. And the greater the score, the greater the kinesiophobia is. Now let's discuss the fear avoidance model of pain, as this model can help explain how kinesiophobia works. Essentially, this model explains how when someone experiences pain, depending on how they experience or view this pain, it may greatly influence how this pain continues long term, whether they become healthy or this pain develops into a chronic pain. If someone has little or no fear about their pain experience, they may be more likely to confront this pain by doing things like maintaining their activity level, which allows them to get onto the road to recovery and eventually have their pain go away. If someone has a very negative pain experience or catastrophizes about their pain, they may develop a fear of movement or a fear of re-injury, which leads them to develop avoidance behaviors, greatly reducing their activity level, which results in disuse and disability, leading to another negative pain experience, then entering this vicious cycle where the pain state does not get an opportunity to improve. Now let's take a look at the evidence of the impact of kinesiophobia, starting with the low back, as the low back has the greatest amount of evidence investigating kinesiophobia. Investigators have found that with greater levels of fear, there is more restricted movement in the back. With chemically induced pain, individuals who had greater levels of fear had increased control of their spine and repetitive movements, and individuals who had chronic low back pain had increased trunk stiffness in various movements. And interestingly, in healthy individuals, greater fear resulted in decreased lumbar range of motion in various lifting tasks. While potentially sounding good at first, the reality is this rigid trunk posture may not only reduce activity at first, but it may also require greater co-contraction across the trunk, which can result in increased compressive load across the back, resulting in more nociceptive input, which can help maintain that pain state. And if we do look at other areas of the body, we do see similar findings, such as decreased range of motion, increased pain intensity, and decreased functional scores. This then tells us that this isn't something that just affects the low back, but affects other areas of the body as well. For summary on the impact of kinesiophobia, kinesiophobia probably serves a short-term goal to protect the painful area, but for long-term, it can increase the pain intensity and duration, as well as decrease activity and movement, which can help contribute to the chronic pain state. And so overall, this can create a very strong barrier in the rehab process. Finally, let's take a look at what can be done and maybe some areas for future research. I think first it'd be worth to take a look at where exactly do these fears come from. There is some evidence that some of the calming lifting instructions given by managers or healthcare professionals to keep this very rigid posture or upright posture while doing a lifting task may contribute to these beliefs that the back is very susceptible to injury or pain and requires further protection. But even then, this may only help explain what happens in the low back, but not the other joints. So if we can find where that fear comes from, we can then potentially reduce the likelihood of individuals fearing or catastrophizing their pain, allowing them to get into that beneficial side of the fear avoidance model and not going into that negative side. Cognitive behavioral therapy can be a useful tool to help develop beneficial coping strategies and behaviors to help in the management of chronic pain as well as the fear of this pain. Pain-based education can be another helpful tool to help recontextualize or re-understand this pain, which can help reduce catastrophizing or fear, which can then help individuals get to that positive side of the fear avoidance model as well. And finally, exercise. Exercise has been repeatedly demonstrated to be helpful in the management of chronic pain and is likely a very useful tool here as well. There hasn't been a ton of investigation on how exercise can impact kinesiophobia, but likely using exercise can help individuals confront this fear, allow them to recontextualize it, and improve it over time. So that's going to conclude this video for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.